Hi there, I'm Jonathan and welcome to my channel, Jonathan's Diamond Painting and Stuff. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're coming back to me, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here. So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of an unusual whip and chat in that I'm going to be talking about a bit of my past. But it's not to do with what's going on with me. Well, it is a bit to do with what's going on with me at the moment, but I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about another hobby of mine, which is becoming a hobby of the past, unfortunately. So this is Electra. She is my Passat E6000 electronically patterning knitting machine with electric motor. I used this for quite a long time, developing blankets and patterns based on my own designs and own drawings that I transferred onto the computer and then onto this machine. I did have a lot of good times with this, but recently, with all my anxiety and everything, I've not really got round to using it for the past year, and I get such anxiety at the thought of it because so much can go wrong with this machine, as I will discuss later, and it's just such a learning curve, and I just couldn't do it anymore, and I just realised it wasn't giving me any joy at all thinking about using this machine. So I just decided, no, enough's enough, I'm going to sell it. And yesterday I listed it on one of my Facebook groups, and I've got some interest, so I think it is going. Yeah, so anyway, I'm just, so it was just such a big chapter in my life, along with my business and everything, so I'm just going to have a little chat while I whip on my solar system work in progress about how I use this and, you know, my journey with that, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to switch to the overhead camera now, and I'll see you in a minute. So as you can probably see, I'm working on Solar System by Image World. I'm on the third row down, just about to finish this third row now, so I've almost completed the earth here. Still loving this. It will not be done this year though, because I'm no way going to get through another 3 rows before December the 1st. And I'm not pushing myself too, frankly, because with all I pushed myself through with the Familong, it struggled, you know, and actually I'm just wearing a wrist support now just because it's a little bit of a... I think I strained my wrist a little bit doing various different crafts, so I'm just not counting my chickens, if you know what I mean, just trying to protect my wrist while I'm doing my DP, but you know, it's not too bad at the moment. But yeah, sometimes, you know, with these movements, and sometimes I'm twisting when I'm going from horizontal to straight, and I struggle now to have my drills horizontally placed when I'm so used to, you know, in the tray, so I'm so used to taking them vertically. So I had no choice but to do that twisting motion, so it's just to protect my wrist when I'm doing that. But yeah, so yeah, loving this project. I'll be continuing with this in a second. And just a little tiny opportunity to just showcase my drill tray mats. Or tremats, as I'm going to call them. So this is a cat one, and it's all finished, just about. Now the cat one's all of Homes at the moment, but I do have more fabric, a little bit more, so if you are interested, please either comment on the video or join my Facebook group for all the latest updates, and that's where you'll hear first about anything like this. So yeah, it's another cat. I just do various different designs with the stitching on top. Kind of represents my busy mind sometimes, that no design is going to be the same. And then this is my cute castle one. And another one, slightly different stitching. And then I've just got my space one, which I think people did like the space one, but we'll see. And I've just got more of a zigzaggy line design on that one. You can't see the stitching that well, but that's the point. Oh, sorry, I keep knocking the mic. Yeah, and another one there. Okay, so that is them. But yeah, they'll be they're £15 each. I'm not averse to shipping them internationally, but of course you'll have to pay for the appropriate postage. It's just a very, very small venture at the moment. I don't know whether it will turn into anything. I've no idea whether it'll be popular or not. But the idea is that you have it on your project, and you can just put your drill trays on it and not worry about scratching the drills or them being directly on the drills and everything. So I really liked that idea. I mean, I know I'm probably being a bit paranoid and everything, and the drills aren't probably gonna be that damaged, but yeah, I like this, and I thought it's really cool. You can have different designs, and you could get different ones for different projects. You know, I wanted to do some Christmas ones, so if you are interested, you know, just like I said, drop me a comment or join my Facebook group, which I will put up now. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to open this latest section and turn my light board on, and we will get going. Okay, so I've really no idea how long this is going to last, you know, so I'll try and keep it to about an hour long session, so it's a good one to watch if you're whipping or doing something else. But yeah, so I'm gonna start from the beginning, which is when I came to St Neots. So before I was in St Neots, I guess I was living in Manchester with my husband. I trained to be a nurse in Wakefield, which is a nearby, well, it's about an hour away from Manchester by car. And I'd met my husband online, and when I qualified, we decided to move in together. And I'm digressing a little bit, but yeah, so we were living together in Manchester, and then we weren't terribly happy. I was quite socially isolated. It's a very big city, so I didn't live close to anyone, any of my colleagues or friends. And to be fair, I didn't really have many friends. I had one friendship with a colleague, but that turned quite toxic. It was really, really quite a negative friendship. I'm very glad it's over now, and I did pick up that friendship a little bit when I moved here. It kind of bounced back again, but again, it just ended again. So really didn't have many positive memories of Manchester, to be honest, apart from my job. And even that was very, very stressful because I worked as a ward nurse on an acute neuro rehab ward, so I was looking after a lot of young people with brain injuries, older people occasionally with strokes and things or other problems with their brain. The idea was we rehabbed them really soon after they had their initial injury, accident. It could be a gunshot wound to the head, because we had a specialist gunshot wound speciality in our hospital. It was Salford Royal Foundation Trust was a hospital I worked for, and it was renowned for its treatment of neurological conditions. You know, it was throughout the country. So yeah, so it could be very stressful. You know, you could have people with really complex behavioural problems, and yeah. So anyway, that was an experience in itself, and that's probably another story to tell. But yeah, so crux of it was I met some lovely colleagues,
some of the who I still stay in touch to on through Facebook to this day. And I keep thinking I should go back there and meet some of them again. But I haven't. One of the those things. You just don't get around to these things. I should really though. But anyway, some amazing colleagues and who I love and adore, and everyone was just so down to earth there and lovely. So yeah, that was a very it was stressful but positive experience at the same time. So it was so very mixed emotions in Manchester, and Alan was really not happy in his job, and he got a new job down south, and so we moved, and when we moved, we researched a lot of places, and eventually we settled on St Neots just because of the transport links to London, and it was generally looked like a nice place to live. So, and it's just a small rural town, to be honest, a market town. We have a market once a week. There's a market square, although unfortunately we've got a pub called the Old Falcon, which has been laid derelict ever since I've lived here for the last 10, 11 years. And it's, I think it was derelict before that. I mean, it's meant to be being redeveloped, and it's a shame because it is a bit of an eyesore on the town square, which would obviously otherwise would be lovely. So yeah, but all in all, quite a nice, lovely little town. I mean, our high street has seen better days, as many of them have at the moment. But yeah, nice little town. So when I moved here, we had a small department store called Barrett's, and which unfortunately is no longer there. Again, of the times. I don't know if you in America have experienced of something similar, what with the pandemic and just general rise of online shopping, but obviously I'm talking about our high street is not nearly what it was. I don't know what it's like in America because I know you don't. Things seem to be further away in America because it's so much bigger, so I don't know whether you shop more at malls and so they're more okay at the moment. Do let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to know, how you fared in recent years. I know I went to Germany just before the pandemic, and their high street was kind of the stage they were at was well behind ours, so it was still doing really well and thriving. And I mean, there were some amazing, huge department stores there still going, which our department stores almost every single one of them has caved in recent years. So there's not very many left. Yeah, so anyway, I'm digressing again. So in this department store, there was our wool and haberdashery department, and the reason I was in there was because I wanted to knit my sister the cardigan that Renoa Hartley wears in the game Final Fantasy VIII. Now, this cardigan is like something what you call a duster, I think, in America. But basically, it didn't have any arms, so it's sleeveless, and it kind of had a cape bit, so it kind of went down the front of you, and then it kind of splayed out from just at the breastbone point, I think, outwards. So and then it turned into kind of a cape that went right down to like your ankles. And I wanted to knit this for my sister, and I had the pattern, and I decided, yeah, I want to do this. And anyway, I went into the shop, thought I could have learned to knit. So anyway, I went into this shop and I talked to one of the lovely ladies. I think it might actually be the lady that now runs the wool and haberdashery shop in St Neots now, because that department survived in a slightly different place in Barrett's, but when it folded, she continued that part of the business. And yeah, so it was her that showed me the yarn and suggested I maybe start with a scarf, and suggested some yarns, and I think it was a 20% wool, 80% acrylic mix. So yeah, and then I think she suggested that there was a new knitting group starting at the library, and so I thought, oh, go and try that, you know. So I didn't actually really have a job at that point. I was kind of between jobs because I'd moved and because I did actually take some time out of my previous job towards the end of my life in Manchester. I wanted to write my novel, and so for the last year I was actually jobless and writing my novel. And I did kind of finish it, but it was never quite what I wanted it to be. This is a totally different novel to the one I'm writing at the moment. So I was really in between things. I was doing agency work occasionally. But yeah, most of the time I was kind of free, I guess, you know, and sorry, just putting my watch on Do Not Disturb. I should have done that before. Right, sorry about that. Yes, so I decided to try out this knitting group, and so I went, and of course, as a lot of craft groups are, particularly knitting ones, it was populated with lots of elderly people. Now, there were younger people there, and as I've mentioned in other whipping chats, this is actually where I met my bestie Sarah. She wasn't there straight away, but she was there maybe a few months down the line. But there was also another couple of us, a couple of people that I met who I was quite close friends with for quite some time, and I'm not friends with them anymore. It's just we just kind of drifted apart. Sarah's the only one that's kind of glued, and that's only really in recent years we became as close as we have been, probably particularly over the pandemic. But you know, I'm amazed, you know, for our friendship, you know, it's amazing. But anyway, yeah, so I kind of glued with those those three people, and we did do more social things together, and that is really I guess I'm trying to think what order things came in. So it was kind of in this time that I think I went to one of my first shows. We did go to the big kind of knitting and yarn and sewing and that sort of thing, thread-based shows at Ali Pali. That's Alexandra Palace, which is just very, very close to the outskirts of London. And big show there, massive. And I think we arranged like to go with the knitting group and everything, and but it wasn't very many of us. So anyway, I decided well, sorry, so we went to that. That was really cool. And then at some point I went to one called Fibre East, which was really like kind of more yarn based, and it was a big emphasis towards spinning, and I was actually quite disappointed in it because there wasn't a lot knitting wise there. There was a lot of yarn there, but a lot of it was overtaken towards spinning. Yeah, so there was actually live sheep there, and I think they shaved the sheep, and they I think there was a contest, and you could win wool made out of that sheep's fleece. I think there's like a competition for that. But yeah, so very, very, very big emphasis on spinning. But thing is that the Guild of Machine Knitters was there. So we have guilds for a lot of our crafts in the UK, you know, and yeah, so I was like, oh, and I decided I went and I had a look and I chatted to the lady, which is unusual for me because I usually get quite scared of talking to people, but I was thought, oh, that's looked really interesting. What is that? And so they were showing me these knitting machines and everything, and they were all, because knitting machine is it's a bit of a dead craft, and by dead craft I mean that they're not really there's not many people actively making knitting machines anymore, not to the level that they were in like the 80s. So in the 70s and 80s, machine knitting was incredibly popular, particularly, well, in the UK it was. I don't know what it was like in the rest of the world, but yeah, so basically clothes were quite expensive, and so people did get these knitting machines, a bit like now you get sewing machines now, that people got knitting machines, and there was patterns, and people sold jumpers much more widely, and people had businesses for it and everything, so, and it was a very good thing for like a woman, sorry, stereotyping here, but back then it was literally, it was quite normalised for women to run the household, look after the children. Unfortunately, we hadn't stepped away from gender stereotypes at that point, so obviously it was a thing that a woman could do, while they were running the household, very similar to sewing, So I think a lot of women back then did pick up machine knitting for that reason, it thrived in popularity, but unfortunately then the rise of mass production came, China and other countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, countries that had like cheap labour, and yeah, a lot of it was mass produced, and that just kind of set a chain of events, really, where machine knitting was going to be a thing of the past. So the people that machine knit now tend to do it mostly on pre-owned we kind of on borrowed time, really, in a way that you're trying to find parts, for a machine that has stopped being produced, goodness knows how many years ago, and it's difficult. So anyway, but I will go on to that. So back to where I was. Sorry, I digress so much. I'm like a yo-yo sometimes. So you had these two ladies were at the guild, and there was a couple of knitting machines there. One of them they had there was a Brother 881, which is what we call a punch card knitting machine. So that's basically, there's no electrics at all. It's basically works on this punch card mechanism. So basically, you have a card with holes in that, and depending where the holes in on this card depends which needle gets selected for patterning. So you can get a wide variety of patterning, but it's only over, like, I think it's a 24 stitch repeat. So so 24 of the needles are on this repeating pattern across the whole bed, and so you have one needle for every stitch on a knitting machine. Well, it's a flatbed knitting machine anyway. And so anyway, they were showing me this and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And I think I was really, really interested. It looked really interesting thing to do. And so anyway, and they were telling me the sorts of things to look for if I was, and basically to go on eBay and have a look. And so I did when I got back, and then I found one, the exact machine. It was an 881, so Brother 881 knitting machine punch card. And it was in a place called Evesham, which is about 2 or 3 hours from where I am. But anyway, I think me and my husband, we went over there, and it was really weird. It was a guy that had a house, and he had a caravan outside the house, and then a knitting machine was in the caravan, and he smoked, so it was smoke damaged as well. And he showed me, smoking away in this caravan, how to use this knitting machine. So it was really, really bizarre, but yeah. So anyway, I was learning how to use this knitting machine by a complete stranger. But anyway, and it cost me something like 50 quid. It wasn't expensive at all. Yeah. So, and I think he's probably one of these people that had used it in the past, but you know, as I said, they had their time. So anyway, so yeah, I learned a little bit, and then I got it home, and then I started. Struggled to begin with, as you do always. I joined a local knitting group, but unfortunately, the I guess I didn't lock horns, but I was I struggle with people sometimes. Yeah, that's all I could I'd say sometimes. Yeah, but yeah, I think it was misunderstandings and everything, and I think yeah, I but anyway, I ended up leaving that group. Yeah, it was just I feel always I'm a very nice, kind person. I'll do everything I possibly can to people, but sometimes when you do trying to be as nice as possible at everything, somehow you still end up upsetting people, which I find really odd. But that it is what it is, isn't it? But it was I think it just showed that there were some very negative traits in the people that ran this group, and yeah, I knew I'd be better off out of that, and so I joined another group in Cambridge, and they are absolutely lovely, and they still invite me every year to their Christmas lunch, even though I don't go to the group anymore. So they're absolutely so lovely. Yeah, and I feel so guilty, but I just can't get the emotional energy for groups right now with my anxiety and everything. I just find it easier to not pressure myself into doing stuff like that. So anyway, so yeah, so I joined that knitting group for a while, and it's like I did an article for the newspaper actually. Actually, let me go. Sorry, I'm yo-yoing all over the place today. I'm really sorry. So yeah, so I joined this knitting group, and so I learned, in this group and everything. I learned about the workings of the machine and everything, and I think we had some events where you could take your machine to the club. Everyone did, and we had like a day together learning stuff. And eventually, I got more and more adept at the machine. And at some point of this, because I still went to my hand knitting group, and my close friends from the hand knitting group, Sarah and my other two friends, it basically became apparent I wanted to do something more with my new learned craft, and that's where my business, Jonathan's Crafts, was born. And so it started out as me wanting to like kind of do a business where I made knitting kits, so hand knitting kits, because obviously the machine knitting was great, but like I said, it's a dead craft, it's difficult unless I was selling stuff that I made on it, which I did do as well. It was really difficult to actually think how I could like appeal to the masses with that. So anyway, so I started out like trying to sell knitting kits, but from the off it was really difficult with the marketing and the selling, and then I did lots of craft fairs, and I did make some money, and I guess it was kind of improving, but I was really living from month to month on my credit card. Alan was helping me as well, and it was a real struggle. But I mean, I did have a good time. When I each time I went to the market, I really looked forward to getting up, and I think that's the only time in my life that I've actually enjoyed the feeling of getting up for work, because I was getting up to sell stuff that I had ordered, I had provided, I had made. I had a market, craft fair kind of thing at a neighbouring town, St Ives in Cambridgeshire, not Cornwall, because there are two. Yeah, I did that every week, and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed like the camaraderie between stall holders and the manager of the market, and yeah, it was a really good experience to me. Life building, I guess, like skills and everything. And all the Christmas markets, because you just got to go to all these different places. I think the most exciting one I did was I did a big one at Hatton. Is it Hatton Park or Hatton House? Hatton House, maybe. It's a big stately home which had a big one, Christmas one, every year. And I did that, and that was quite exciting. I mean, for all the Christmas markets, I actually had another friend through the knitting group called Jane, and she was retired, but she didn't really have anything to do, and so she came round me and helped me with all the markets. I couldn't pay her, but she just enjoyed it, I think, coming round with me and going all these different places. And we went to all these craft fairs together, and it was a really, really good experience. And and there was some good times, but there were also some bad times as well, so it's just like anything, and I did start to sell some stuff on the knitting machine. I made some Christmas stockings. I'll try and put some pictures throughout this, but yeah, I made some Christmas stockings. I made I made like some scarves and hats. And I did have a few sales from time to time, custom orders and everything. So it wasn't all bad. It's just I really, really did struggle in marketing my business, and I guess reaching out to that, client base. And yeah, so it went on. The business only lasted a couple of years, and during that time, I was becoming more and more demotivated, struggling to actually make ends meet, like I said, and yeah, it was becoming overly frustrating to me. But before I talk about kind of the general decline and me finishing the business, I'll just share a few images of all the good times, so a few of my market stalls, and everything, and how I guess it was a way for me to put forward my personality and, who I am through my stock and my crafts and, my items that I made. I had like a little Christmas tree on my stall, which I kind of hung some things on. I mean, my buttons were very popular. I loved getting those. I ordered those from China, of course, and but I had a massive variety, and and that was really cool. People loved buying them, and they loved pouring through them, and I only sold them for like a few pence a piece, but it made a lot of money. So, but yeah. Anyway, got too many drills on my pen. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so... But yeah, it did decline though. As things often do. And I think it was when I went to one of my sister's weddings, and they were so happy, and they both had really stable jobs, so, and I think they were teachers, and I thought, I want that to be me. I want to be happy like that again. And I just thought, I'm not happy at all. So I knew I needed to do something about it, and that was when I decided I've got to go back to nursing. As much as I didn't really like nursing, I needed to go back to it. So I spent a couple of weeks intensively studying to try and get my head back in the game. I needed to do it as well. You know, as a requirement, you need to do all this study. And then I went back and I got a job at Papworth, a big heart hospital, near to where I lived. And yeah, I was back, and the first time I got my paycheck, that was amazing. So yeah, someone else paying me. I loved that. Rather than having to struggle to keep ends meet, someone else was doing that for me. And then when I was doing a craft, I could enjoy it. But that's where the problems come with some of the machine knitting, in that I lost some of the joy for the craft that I don't think I've ever got back. So some of the stuff associated with knitting machines and stuff, particularly my pass up, the one I'm actually selling, I lost my zest for it, and it was very difficult. I struggled to ever get my zest for that machine back again, and I did make custom orders. And since I went to my new job, when I started working in the community, I did have a few orders, from like one lady particularly ordered several things from me from time to time, for family and things. And yeah, I loved doing that, but it just wasn't enough, and yeah, it wasn't enough to take away that feeling, so I'm glad I've decided to move on finally. But just give you an idea of my design process. So when I do a blanket, because I only do blankets on that machine because they're easy, they're just a rectangular piece. But what I do is I make a drawing, a very, very basic drawing. I'm not the best artist in the world of what I want to do. Sometimes I take inspiration from other images online. I'm not copying, just getting inspiration and kind of just doing my own spin on an image. Like the dinosaurs, for instance. I've done quite a few dinosaurs, which I'll show you now. And so I do that. And then what I do is I have to transfer it onto my computer. So I either scan it in or take a picture and just put the photo in, and then I put that into a program called Designer Knit, which is a knitting machine. It's a hand knit as well if you buy the hand knit bit, which I have. It's a bit of a knitting machine software. So anyway, I decided to so this machine software which I've got, you then put it into that, and then you kind of have to turn it into like kind of a pixelated knitting pattern. And to do that, you have to do complicated things like, I've got a concaved one here. Where did that go? So to do that, you have to do complicated things like look at the knitting tension. So you have to have done tensions for the beforehand. So you do tension squares to see what tension. So that's like how many stitches wide by how many rows for instance 10 by 10 centimeters, so how that image will come out when you're doing it. And so I have all these measurements in my books and everything of everything that I've done, so I can, depending on the technique and the type of blanket and the type of stitch I'm doing, I know exactly what to put in when I'm doing a new image. So it was very complex and there's a lot of stuff to get used to. My E6000, that involved a laser eye, and occasionally it would get like a little bit of hair or a little bit of dust or something in it, or a thread from the yarn, and it would just stop working. momentarily, but that's all it took. And if it stopped working, that's it, whole blanket gone. Basically, you could get the blanket back, but it was so complicated doing it to get the pattern back and then put the blanket back on the machine. It was just easier to rewind the yarn and start again. So that created a lot of frustration for me, obviously. And yeah, I really, really struggled with that. And just that not knowing sometimes when it's going to do it. And I cleaned the machine, I hoovered it out, I made sure the laser didn't have anything. Also rogue drill. You know, but even then, it could just still happen, and it was just that unknown element. You couldn't control it, you know. So I was, yeah, I was just a little bit, No, I do not like that. I don't like, as you can tell probably from my other videos, I don't like unpredictability, you know. So I like things to be well ordered and not go wrong, for instance. And then I'll just come on to it now. I did touch on it before, but basically because it's a dead craft, the support that you get is all from like online groups and everything. There isn't any support from the manufacturers anymore, so if things go wrong, it can be very hard to resolve your problem at times. And I'm not saying there isn't support, because there are some amazing people. They're all people that are doing this often as hobbies, and sometimes people might not really know how to solve your problem, and it can be frustrating. And what I like about sewing is it's not a dead craft. People are still very much doing it, well, actively, and the manufacturers are still selling the machines, you know. So it's really, really, really a much more supported craft, you know, in doing, you know. And to be honest, I was just ready for something different, and I haven't done sewing as a business, although I'm trying to sell a few little bits as kind of a hobby sort of thing with what I was saying, those sewn things. But I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on myself for that to be a success, because if I do, then I'm just going to ruin that for myself as well, you know. So that's the thing, you know. I've always said, you know, if I ever do anything for money again, I'm going to want to do it as a hobby and let it build up gradually, because it's the not being successful that ruins it for me, you know, because you just get so upset, you know, when things don't go the way you want them to go, you know, or you think, oh, people hate my products or people hate my thing, you know. So yeah, so I thought I'm not doing that to myself anymore. I'm just gonna see how things go, and I am really gonna need some more drills, I think. Let me shake them, see how many more I can get out of this, but I think I might need to get another bag. I'm gonna be pushing it, but yeah. So I'm just I'm enjoying it though, and the people I'm selling or giving these mats to are people that really want them, people that I know, you know, so I know how beneficial they will be, you know. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to do a few little bits. I think me and Sarah got plans to maybe make some diamond painting bags, you know, so, or like little roll-up kit things, so, you know, you can store all your accessories and your putties and everything, etc. For between use, or if you're going out and about, you know. I just thought that'd be a really cool thing to do. So anyway, yeah, I'm just I'm gonna get another pack of drills. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's any more to the story, you know. Not really. I mean, there's so many things I've done with the machine, it's hard to list them all. Oh, there we go, 310. Have we got, oh no, we've got some more 310 in this little bag as well. I'll get those first. Yeah, so I've learnt various things. I use a linker machine at a time to join my knitted pieces together. I have used my other knitting machine to do a knitted Santa, but that's the part of machine knitting that I still enjoy because I never really use that completely to make a living. But I made about 43 Santas one Christmas. I will show you some pictures of these because this was me being really, really crazy. I made them for all my work colleagues and for friends and family, and I had an absolute ball doing it. It was just so amazing. This was, I think it was during the pandemic, actually. I'm trying to think what year it was. I will find out, But anyway, yeah, but I had a ball doing that. Just because I was bringing joy, and people still send me pictures. And then I think the remnants of that business, so when I closed the business, I actually had a load of stock and stuff, and I had all these snowmen that I'd made on the machine and then couldn't sell. And so one Christmas I took them in and gave them everyone as presents. I thought, sod it, I'm going to use these somehow. And so I used them for presents to my colleagues, and people loved them. And yeah, I thought, sod that, people don't want to buy them. Well, people are going to get them as gifts, and enjoy them. And people did. And it was amazing. It felt so good. And I have one of my district nurse friends. She, one of the district nurses there. She, when I actually saw her in the office, when I had one of my sickness meetings, informal sickness meeting with my area manager, she was there and she was like, she's like, Jonathan's going on the tree, Jonathan, because she calls the snowman that I gave her Jonathan. And she always says to her daughters, Jonathan's going on the tree. And that just feels so amazing. And then I think sometimes, and every year on Facebook, I do get people, posting up pictures of my snowmen's going on their tree. And that just feels so nice. I'm just like, it just really gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling, that something I've made is actually bringing happiness to somebody. And that, to be honest, is a feeling I like more than anything else, to be honest. Yes, I would like to, I would love to make a living from my creative things, but I know I'm under no illusions that it's very difficult. And so I'm coming to terms with that, and actually I'm really enjoying, just crafting for me, or crafting for people that I care about, people I know, people I have that connection to, so yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to getting back to work in the new year. So yeah. How long have I been talking for? Good grief, 52 minutes so far. Huh? Yeah, so yeah, I can talk sometimes. And I'm not doing bad at this square, am I, today? Although one of my friends will say, oh, it's a lot of colour blocking, Jonathan. So yeah, I'm impressed with myself still though. But there we go. That's all. Oh, just one black left. There we go. Okay, so what now? Oh yes, I need to put them away, don't I? So I'm just thinking, where else? Where's my funnel gone? Oh, it's here! Sorry, it was in here already. I'm going mad today. If I wasn't already. Yeah. So I guess that was the aftermath of the business shutting down, making those Santas. And I did make some, like I said, some blankets, and I made some Christmas stockings as well. That was on the Pass app. So I won't be able to make those anymore, but it's not going to bring me joy. And as Marie Kondo says, if it doesn't bring you joy, you should get rid of it. So I'm actually, for once, taking that to heart. And I did actually also offload of one of my other crafts. I got into model making for all of like a few months, and I finally just sold all of that stuff, I'm mindful I probably mentioned it in another whipping chat, so I don't like repeating myself, but you know, I often do. But yeah, but no, I was really pleased getting rid of all of that. So, right, just get rid of all of these. Yeah, so I am very much in this sort of like, I think I'm having a little bit of an epiphany that I just need to concentrate on the crafts that are bringing me joy now, and if I have a craft that I've not touched for like a year or more, and if it's just inducing such anxiety thinking about it, it's time for it to go. You know, I can't just carry on like this, you know, so, but yeah. So my baby's gonna be going. It was such a big part of my life, but yeah, so oh, for goodness sake. Why is it there's always that odd drill? It's like, is that like a phenomenon? You know, like unseeing the drill phenomenon. You don't see it until you put your drills away and it's there. Ah. Right. Yeah, so like I said, I'm rearranging this room, so I'm going to have some more white desks. I'm going to have more space for another sewing machine, so if Sarah wants to come and help me do some sewing and stuff, you know, she can. And just gives me a bit more space and everything. But I think where my past at, well, on one of the walls, I think it's going to be on the opposite wall actually, I'm going to have a little sofa. Yeah, my other knitting machine is going to go away for now because it's not needed at the moment. I've not used it for a long time. I just got them up just because I thought, oh, it'll be cool, have my knitting machines up, I can just use them when I want. Have I used them? No. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to sorting this room out a bit more, getting that all sorted before Christmas. But yeah, and I just thought that might be nice, like when me and Sarah are planning, we can just have somewhere comfortable to sit down in between or to sew and stuff. So yeah, so anyway, I am really loving this new chapter in my life. You know, I know it's taken me quite a few months to get to where I am now, but I think I am finally getting there. But you know, I'm actually going to my sister's for a couple of days this week, so I don't know if that'll affect my video schedule. I'm thinking about whether to film an unboxing tomorrow. This is Saturday now, by the way. I'm hoping to get this video out for you tonight. But hopefully I will. I might film an unboxing of the Donna Gelsinger Christmas kit, and I'll get that out maybe on Tuesday-ish, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I can film another one. I'll film my whipping chat, my proper whipping chat, where I just update you what's been going on with me towards the end of next week. Okay? Yes, so this is me. I've very nearly finished this square. I'm going to finish it though now because it's hardly anything left now. I can't believe I've actually made that much progress in one whipping chat. That's a new high for me. I mean, I know it's only teeny tiny square, but you know, it's really good progress to me. I'll just turn the light board off so you can see better, and I will zoom it out. And just take this off so you can see a bit better. But yeah, I think it's looking great. I love this kit. It's just all the blocking, and you just don't realise until you're doing it how much colour blocking there is and how little confetti there is in this kit. And there was a bit in the globe, obviously. Sorry, in the earth, this bit. But how effective is that, really? It's just amazing. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope it wasn't too boring. Please give me feedback, you know, on if this was interesting to you. Also, I am thinking about starting a series or two of whipping chats, you know, not like about me, but, well, a little bit. But I was thinking, there's a couple of themes. I'm thinking about doing one about films that mean a lot to me, and I'll just spend the whole session talking about it in depth, you know, everything about from my first experience of watching it to my favourite moments, to everything I know about it, and weird little things I might have picked up about the film, little bits of trivia. If that's something that you'd be interested in, please let me know. I'll try and make them films that are accessible to most people. Try and stay off the horror as much as I can, but you never know. To be honest, there's not very many horror films that are in my top films. I mean, I love Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon, and those couple of films I really do like. But yes, but yeah, I'll try and stave off them as much as I can. But if you're interested in that and you find that a really interesting way to spend the hour, just let me know in the comments, and thank you. I think it was Soul Seaver said about my sound balance being a bit off, and he's right. I was trying to figure it out, and I figured it out now. I can put a filter through my whole thing. My husband's shown me how, so all future videos, including this one, should be perfectly balanced. So thank you for that, Soul Seaver. It's really appreciated when people comment me with constructive advice, because if you don't comment, I don't know, sometimes, I should, but I mean, I'm still learning, still relatively new YouTuber. Love how much it's growing. I think I'm on 375 subscribers now, so yeah, so I'm really pleased with how it's going. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me the thumbs up, and if you like my content, please subscribe for further content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.